How's it going, guys? Alex here, and today I kind of want to go over why this potential new limit break system could be better than the potential system. And of course, it mostly comes down to the fact that it's done in such a way that it could potentially make some of the units that normally aren't that great better. And when it comes to the potential system, you're kind of limited on what you can actually do with it, because of course you have a limited amount of orbs, which kind of restricts you on the units that you can go ahead and improve. But with this new limit break system, it basically allows almost every single unit in the game at the moment to, you know, basically go to the next level, which is something that we were missing, and it was something that I honestly hoped that the potential system would bring to the game, but it kind of went in the complete wrong direction in my opinion. Honestly, I think it was a terrible decision to make the potential system the way it was. It was a good idea at first, but when you introduce leads and units like the 120% leads, it just kind of goes in the opposite direction that you would expect it to. If they didn't make the orbs limited like they are, obviously it would allow way more units to be more relevant. For example, even the very first agility Super Saiyan Goku, who's absolute trash, would have had a opportunity at the very least to be somewhat usable in certain scenarios. And now with this limit breaking system, there definitely is the potential for him to improve to the point where he could actually be usable, and that's an issue that has just been in the game for so long. Like, before, you were just happy to pull any SSR because it was just so hard to pull them. But now it's just like, okay, I managed to put this SSR, but he just isn't that great by any means. And if you've seen my video on the limit breaking system that is supposedly, well, I know for a fact that it is coming to Dokkan in the coming days. We know for a fact that it's definitely going to be game changing in certain aspects. You can now go up to level 15 in terms of super attack level. You can increase the overall max level of your character, which means their stats are going to be getting even higher. But the reason why this is so good is because it will allow certain units, like I said before, to just go to the next level in comparison to some of the newer ones. Of course, the first unit to be able to limit break, essentially, is going to be the Agility Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And I'm pretty sure they did mention that every single Transcended Ultra Rare should be able to do this. And the reason why it's good in comparison to the potential system is because they of course aren't limiting the amount of medals that you can get, essentially. So of course you will be able to get the medals for the Agility Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and eventually as they add more units, you will be able to get the medals for those particular units as well. Of course, like I said, the only unit available at the moment is going to be the Agility Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but like Blazing, they will be adding more units over time, which you can go ahead and improve. And pardon me, I'm curious to see who they do next. I don't know if they're going to be doing one unit at a time or if they're going to be doing multiple units at a time, but I'm definitely curious to see how they execute this, and this could be an absolutely great way of making some of the older units like Tech Perfect Cell, STR Broly. Of course, you have the Agility Super Saiyan Goku, like I mentioned earlier. Just so many great units from back in the day that could potentially be even better now. Like, this entire system could definitely take Dokkan in a positive direction, and the fact that they are even doing this at all is great. Of course, if you take a look at Blazing, like, some of the free-to-play units in that game are absolutely incredible because of a system like this, and I kind of brought this up briefly in my initial video. If they make it so that passive change, pardon me, or leader skills, this could potentially introduce an entire new difficulty when it comes to the game, because if you're making certain units as good as some of the Dokkan Fests, this could open doors for, you know, future Dokkan events and such, because if you are giving access to really powerful units for a lot of characters that are already obtainable to, you know, a lot of people, because I would imagine that at this point quite a lot of you already have some of the older units in the game. That's just the way it works. You're bound to pick up some of the older units in the games, like, just as you play. And because they gave a lot of the God Leads away, and of course they gave the Agility Super Saiyan 3 Goku away with the Red Stone, I would imagine that the majority of you have them by now, especially if you didn't have them before, because I mean, honestly, it depends on who you decided to go for. The best option with the Red Stone was Full Power Frieza. Agility Super Saiyan 3 Goku was probably the second best option. So again, it either came down to which one you picked, but you did have multiple chances to pick which one you wanted, of course. And let's just say that at least 75% of the fan base, or the player base, does have that particular unit. If they go ahead and make it so that his leader skill improves to something like the Super Vegito lead, or they get rid of the restriction on his passive, this is going to make him massively usable again. And if they were to do that for the other units that a lot of people have that aren't so great now, that could allow the developers to make events a bit harder, and that was the initial problem before. Like, you can't go ahead and just make the event super hard, because obviously the free-to-play players would struggle massively. But this way, at the very least, if you are allowing every single, the majority of the Ultra Res, or Transcendent Ultra Res in the game, I should say, in the game, to develop to the point where they are like super powerful and almost on par with the 120 leads, or just any of the newer characters in some ways, like, that just opens so many doors, which is great. And you take a look at the Super Kaioken Goku. He is easily on par, if not better, than Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, who is a Dokkan Fest unit. Granted, Super Kaioken Goku did come out later than Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, so he was bound to be better in several ways. But just looking at that was a great thing, because you are essentially releasing an incredible unit on a essentially a filler banner. So if they were to do more things like that in the future, it would be great for, you know, the rest of the game. But I am definitely glad that they are adding something like this to Dokkan. It's a step in the right direction. It just introduces so many possibilities, because I think it's inevitable that every single unit in the game eventually, or the majority of the units in the game for the most part, are going to receive some sort of a rebirth / awakening. Of course, rebirths do count as Transcended Ultra Rares, which means that potentially every single unit in the game will be available to Limit Break at some points. But I would imagine that they are going to focus on just the units that aren't that great at the moment, which is good. Like, you want them to focus on the units that aren't that good, just make them better, improve them, make them way more usable again, and the game is just going to go in a great direction. No longer will you be like, oh, okay, it's just another SSR that I don't really care about. But you will be looking forward to actually going ahead, limit breaking these units, just seeing how good they are once they are fully limit broken, just seeing what they are capable of once their potential passives and leader skills can change. Because if you take a look at someone like a unit that pops in my head is the Agility Kid Boo. Of course, he does the 70% health boost, which was probably low-key one of the best leader skills upon his release, just because no one gave that significant of a boost to health. Granted, it's pretty common now. If you take a look at a leader skill like that, if they were to change it so that it could potentially give a free key boost and maybe 100% to health, you know, just little things like that. Like, just make small changes that can potentially make those units usable in terms of, you know, being a leader, maybe in terms of just being an optimal unit. Like, even semi-optimal would be a good move. Just make it so that it's possible for almost every SSR in the game to be usable in certain teams, especially when it comes to the limit breaking system. Just make it so that it's worth running these units with the limit breaking system. Make pulling any SSR great again, and that is one of the things that I'm definitely looking forward to. It's a shame that they did make the potential system a bit limited when it came to the orbs. I still believe strongly that they should have excluded the Dokkan Fest units, to be honest. I think that wouldn't have been that hard to do. But again, it comes to the way that they made the game, they probably thought that it was a good decision at the time. It was more of a test, but of course, they couldn't have, like, given it to JP but not Global, because of course people would have wanted it. But again, I still stand by the fact that they definitely shouldn't have given it to Dokkan Fest units. Just made it exclusive to the units that aren't that great, but that is kind of what they are doing with the limit breaking system now. Granted, the Agility Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a Dokkan Fest unit, but at the same time, it's like, he isn't that great anymore. And he definitely has the potential to be an absolutely incredible unit again. And, like, if you make every single unit overpowered, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. If every SSR you pull has the potential to be limit broken and just improve to the point where they are semi-optimal or optimal at the very least, you know, it could allow them, like I said, to improve certain events, just make them way tougher, because that was the initial issue, especially for me. I mean, that mostly comes down to the fact that I'm a whale, and a lot of people that I talk to are whales, but you get the point. Like, some of the Dokkan events now are pretty easy, and if you compare them back to when, you know, we had the 70% meta, they weren't necessarily that hard if you had the right team, but it was still challenging. You had to use quite a few of your items, you had to think your turns through, there was no potential system, there was no crits, you had to use certain teams for certain events, and certain events were unbeatable with certain teams, so definitely curious to see where this goes. Curious to see what point the game is at once the 3-year anniversary rolls around, But yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I just feel like making a discussion video on this. Definitely an interesting system that is coming to Dokkan. Maybe PvP next would be nice, but they did say that they were evolving Dokkan essentially, so I believe this comes out in around 6 days or so. Again, I'm not too certain if the new game mode and this limit breaking system are related to each other in any way. I'm kind of hoping that they aren't related. I kind of hope that they are 2 separate things, because it will give us 2 new things to do, which is nice, of course. Kind of sucks that it's currently limited to 1 unit, but let's take it slow. Let's just see how it works, of course, because I imagine that this is just going to be a small test, and eventually they're going to be adding more units that are capable of limit breaking, essentially, or I believe they call it Z Awakening. I can't remember the actual name. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the video, as always, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one.